gun and shoot for the sky.
I get the bag and then what easy take the risk. I'm so stupid, wanna do this, I don't give it. KP, I still the shit. Let's go and take a trip. You see me round town, cruising in a foreign whip. I'm in my zone. 听不了打扰我，我需要我的专注力。你们能看到我，因为我让你是故意。你可能喜欢我，因为我不跟别人比，我就是我自己。I'm always number one. No, I ain't runners up. 我只想赢，我不会听你们在做什么。
Hello and welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. We are your hosts. He is Joey Hudson, TSW interviewer. You see he's got the microphone right there. He is Eddie Wade, TSW wrestler, double champ. We're not sure if he's officially the Brotherhood champ. Okay. And he is our Ring Post Daily Prophecy champion. I am Mr. RPD and your Call Your Shot contract holder, Ty. And today we are doing the Royal Rumble predictions. We have a SuperCard that's continuing from Saturday night's main event. And does anybody have the score at the moment? I believe.
Yes. This is SuperCard 39, by the way.
Mhm.
And right now, and this is like right now. This is halftime. We're going into the second half of the game here.
Mhm.
We did Saturday night main event, and right now the current ring general champion is Austin Brock Lesnar Cochran, and he fell down pretty bad in this card. We're gonna go from lowest to highest. Austin has 1 point going into this Royal Rumble card. I'm in second place with 3 points, and Tyreek here scraped by at 4 points with the 1 point advantage. So at this point, I am your biggest threat. Austin needs a miracle to, somehow beat us, and Tyreek could walk. I think right now it's like Tyreek or me could be walking out ring general champion. Austin needs a miracle. He needs like a perfect card and needs us to fail and our wilds to fail, supers. And one aspect we're adding to this year's Rumble and so on is legendary pick, which means you get to pick a WWE legend to be in the Rumble, and they have to be a WWE Hall of Famer. It can be for the men's or women's, and if you lose, you don't lose a point. But if you win, you get an extra point to help you out. So it's a new factor, but I think it adds more to it. For a Royal Rumble, I think it's just a fun little thing to do for some extra points. That 1 point could either
points, don't you, Joey?
Oh, I thought for everybody, this 1 point extra could do some damage. If the score stays the same right now, and I'm always 1 point behind Ty, and my legendary pick comes true, and no one else's does, I could tie with you, and we could be the highest scorers on the card. But due to a tie, the lowest person on the card, Austin, would remain champion. So this legendary pick could be a big factor.
There has been many times where, I was, champion, one of the champions, and you all had beaten me in predictions and wild cards and super picks, and you guys tied, and I got away with the championship advantage. It's like, I remember, I think one time, it wasn't like a three-way tie.
So many times I should have been champion.
Yeah, and but you couldn't beat everybody. So it only takes two to tie. So there's been times where two of them have tied and one has been a little bit behind, and I'm in last place, and I still walk away with the title. So that's the good thing about the championship advantage.
And see, the cool part about this is, without dropping names here, a very long time ago, in the past, we had what I would call the big boss man. But now that the dynamic has changed here, there is no one particular boss on the show. There's 4 quarters and $1. There's 4 of us. We're our own bosses. And I won't lie, I am the one that came up with the legendary pick, but that's the great thing about I think what I would call the new era of this podcast is we can add and do things on this show that we want to do. And it's not really like you have to ask somebody like, hey, can I add this? Like, no, we have the power, and all we have to do is say like, hey, what do you guys think of this idea? Hell yeah, let's do it. So this new factor is now possible in this new era, and it's just cool. It's cool to see how that's going to work out.
It seems like that happens with a number of wrestling factions, even in the now. Like, back in the day, I remember the Nexus, of course, the clear leader was Wade Barrett, it seemed. And then he left, and of course, Punk took over the new Nexus. But then the Core came out, and the Core, they all treated each other as equals. The Judgment Day used to be run by Edge, and then, they turned on him, then they all turned equals. Example. The Vision.
I was about to say, we are like the Vision of Wrestling podcast. And we kind of like, we no longer have that Seth Rollins of the group. Like, now we're all equal. Now we all, and that's just cool.
I won't say this is like our situation, but I think Braun and Bronson, that's why I need them to get theirs. That they made a big mistake without like getting rid of the Visionary. And, because he could have taken them farther to wherever they gone. I know, Braun's more of a threat now, but I need all of them to get theirs. Them two for turning Logan Paul, because Logan Paul just needs to get his, and I'm tired of him being a Paul Heyman guy.
I don't trust Theory with him.
That's what I was gonna say.
For Rollins.
Right.
I agree. I hope so, because if not, then I want him to get his too for stealing his stomp. But besides that, we got the Rumble.
We got two Rumbles.
2 Rumbles.
So we're gonna dive on into this, and we're gonna save the Rumbles for last. So we're gonna start off first with probably one of the biggest. I don't know, they're all big matches, but let's start off with a career-threatening match, a banger here. Now, this is AJ Styles' career on the line against what is now the career killer, or what I refer to as the real legend killer, Gunther. And if Gunther wins, AJ's done. But if AJ wins, he continues until he chooses to retire. So, Tyreek, we'll start off with you. Who is winning this match? Is AJ winning and continuing his tour, or is this the end? Now, keep in mind, he did debut, I think, in the 2015 Rumble, I think, or 2016, one of those two.
Yep.
2016
it's
Rumble.
10
years ago.
At the Rumble.
Yes. So will his career end at the same pay-per-view where he debuted, or what's going to happen?
So I've been, I've of course just gone back and forth, and just, like everybody, thinking about, is it time? Is it not time? I like it, and I always like, a lot of times with my predictions, even when I think I'm going one way, I was like, okay, try to visualize it in your head of what the finish might be, what the atmosphere is going to be in the arena, and, who's the crowd going to be behind, and what's it going to feel like. My choice is Gunther. And I just I think there's part of me that's at peace that if it does like finish off, AJ's career right here. Like, it's I think when I first heard that it was on the line, maybe I didn't feel that way, but just seeing all that he's done, and like, especially, just what he's done at like that that match with Cena, I know he could have more moments, but to me, that's just was peak. And, it's like, I would have loved if that was both their retirement matches.
I was
But
about to say, if they
yeah,
both would have retired then, I think fans would have been like 100% agreed.
yeah. And you don't always get what you want. So, I think,
Yeah.
also, I just think in the position that Gunter is right now, he just seems so unstoppable. And I'm not saying I can't see AJ coming away with the win because I even told my brother this. It's like, man, I think Gunther, might win, but I hope they surprise me and catch me off guard. I'd prefer that, even if I get it wrong. Like, I think that'd be dope. And even part of me was like, AJ kind of went face to face with Mike Santana some months back. He went face to face with Frankie Kazarian and everything. I thought, oh, no way he's gonna go because he's already like kind of set those up. But it doesn't necessarily mean he can't have a small run in TNA if he wanted to. And
Well, I was
once
about to
he's
say, I
forced to
read
retire.
something online, like speculation, and someone painted a beautiful picture, but AJ Styles was on the last episode, or the premiere episode of TNA on AMC, and he went to Kazarian, I think, who's the TNA
Mhm.
champ, and someone said, "What if this is just the end of his WWE journey, and since he's under contract with WWE, they allow him to go to TNA, get one more, and he said one more world title. What if he goes to TNA, gets one more TNA world title, and retires there where he started? Like that's like fairy tale ending right there.
Yeah, and like legit, like and he doesn't necessarily like have to be in WWE to do that. And of
Well,
course,
I don't know
if he
because according to the internet, it says if Style loses, he will retire from in-ring competition. Now,
mm,
it doesn't say from WWE. So does that mean that AJ has to retire altogether and can't wrestle anywhere? Or is that WWE's way of saying, well, this is the best way to allow you to have that TNA final run and retire there, is by letting you end your WWE career here and go over here and do this the way you want to? Like, I don't know, but it's
I
very
did, yeah,
possible.
but like I said, I went back and forth on this, and I honestly, some don't see it as it can go. I don't know. Like, so I feel like, the fans of
It's
AJ
hard.
Styles don't want to see it go, Gunter's way. And so they're like, they choose AJ Styles, but there are a big chunk of fans who's like, oh, there's no way Gunter's losing. I think I can see both. I can see both finishes to where, AJ, so, can find a way to beat Gunter and continue, but yeah, unfortunately, I think the finish could be, just AJ getting choked out. And, I'd be at peace with that. It's like, AJ's given a lot to WWE. And, uh, of course, I didn't expect it to come this quick, but if it does, it's a, it's not a bad time. Cause, it's like it's like, yeah, he could, have, I mean, I wouldn't mind him having one more Mania, a good Mania, just because he lost to Logan Paul last week and I mean last year, and that's his final Mania match. But if it is, it's just like it is what it is. And but it does, it feels like the end, in my opinion. So I'm
Well,
choosing
think about it
Gunter.
like this too. Think about it like this too. In the past, I'd say at least 10 years, we have seen so many retirements. But I mean, even in the past 10 years, we saw Batista retire, we saw Triple H retire, Cena retire, Taker retire, Kane retire, Edge is about to retire,
Hmm.
um, and now Styles is about to. Fandango just retired. So many retirements have happened, and before you know it, there's not going to be any. Like, so far, R-Truth is the one wrestler from the Attitude Era that's around. Before you know it, there ain't going to be no Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression people. It's all going to be like NXT people. So we are looking at a future where WWE is nothing but former NXT stars, and they have to carry the brand. So
Yeah, and
I on
former, PG era, those who came up during that time. And well, they're gonna even those, from that era, it's like they're gonna be, more matured and everything, those who are still there. But sooner or later you're gonna see them like
yeah.
just falling off, like, people like Sheamus and eventually Ray, eventually Randy.
Yeah,
Like,
Sheamus
they're
just
just
turned like 48 today. I mean, who knows? He might say, I don't want to wrestle after 50 and be done in a year and a half, 2 years.
yeah. And but I think
Randy Orton, you can't tell me Randy Orton's
man,
going to be around forever, too much longer.
I'm a I'm a
WrestleMania
cry.
Wrestle till the
42,
wheels
I'd say
fall off.
it's WrestleMania 42 coming up. I say we'd be lucky to have him by WrestleMania 45. And Kevin Owens, he's on the injured list,
Ooh,
and there's no
yeah.
promise that he'll even be able to come back. So the
What'd you say
list of
earlier, Eddie?
retirements and possible retirements, phew.
That's it.
Yeah,
I
let's
see
get
What'd you say
Eddie's
earlier?
opinion on this.
I was gonna say I see Randy go until the wheels fall off. And also I see Gunther choking out AJ. Is the most
Ooh.
likely scenario here.
I just don't want them
Man,
to repeat the Cena thing. Like, if anything, I just want to see
I
like
think he's gonna. I don't
Styles
think
get
he's gonna
tapped out or
tap.
something.
I don't think
Yeah,
he'll
but
tap. I think he'll like completely pass out.
I think if
yeah.
anyone can get away with that whole, you got me in a sleeper and I'm smiling type of thing, it's Cena.
Mhm.
But Styles, I think Styles needs to go out like in a blaze of glory. Like, he's passed out, let him go, let him go. So
Yeah.
and
Shout
and
out
it's funny
to
you guys would say that because my pick is also Gunther. And we have to keep in mind too, Gunther is also in the men's rumble. He's pulling double duty. So could Gunther pull double duty and have double victories? I don't know. To me, that seems a little surreal. But the way they're building Gunther up, it's always a possibility. But my pick is also going to be Gunther. I think AJ is going to retire 10 years later at the same pay-per-view that he debuted at. So I'm going with Gunther as well. And I was going to make Gunther my super pick, but the only thing that stopped me was it's not written in stone as far as we know. They could swerve us. And I cannot risk my super pick at this point on somebody who looks promising, but it's not like the dirt sheets are saying it's official. AJ is retiring. So I have to go. I can't put my super pick on Gunther, but I am going to put my bet on Gunther. The next match, we're going to move on to the next match, the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre, the champ, versus Sami Zayn. And the reason I'm going to go first on this one is because I think McIntyre is going to win, and Drew McIntyre is my super pick. We've seen it with, and long story short, we've seen it with Daniel Bryan, we've seen it with Kofi Kingston, and so many others. Even Sami Zayn when he beat Gunther for the IC title at WrestleMania. But we've seen so many of these underdog stories, and I keep seeing people in the online saying, I'm sick of the Sami Zayn underdog story and nothing coming of it. Does Sami Zayn win here? I don't think so. But I think he does go on to WrestleMania and finally gets his first world title win. Now, a lot of people will not count the NXT Championship as a world title. That's ridiculous. I count it as one, but I guess it's not considered one. But I count it as one. But ever since he came to the main roster,
Not a big card title.
No, I mean, to me, the NXT title is like the world title of NXT. At one point in
North
time,
American would be the
like the IC.
card title.
Like, at one point, WWE looked at Charlotte Flair and said, oh, she's a 12-time women's world champion. And then when she went in against, I think, Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for the NXT title and won it, they said, oh, she's a 14-time champion. That's when they considered it a world title. But they don't make it like, if the NXT title was really considered a world title, the WWE, they would put one NXT title match at WrestleMania, and it'd be always the NXT championship. But I guess WWE, they pick and choose when they want the title to be looked at as a heavy title. And I just think this is ever since coming to the main roster, bloodline work, heel work, good guy work. Sammy has put in the work, and over the past year, he's beat names like John Cena and other people. I think that last U.S. title run in the U.S. Open, I think that was kind of like, well, let's see if we can get fans behind it. And they got it off him in enough time to let him go for the title here. So my super pick is Drew McIntyre, and I do see Sami Zayn winning it at WrestleMania. But my super pick and my pick is Drew McIntyre. Tyreek, who do you have in this match?
This was another one where I was just like, I can see it going either way with just the fact that, Sammy, is going to be in Saudi, kind of a home court advantage almost. And, they are going to be rooting for him. But Drew just won that title. And you guys know how I feel about Drew. I've been waiting for this title run for years. And I just think there's, still more to do with it, especially just seeing what he did at Saturday night's main event and, taking out Cody and taking out Jacob Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I not only think that Drew's title run doesn't like end here. I think like you said, Joey, Sammy's story doesn't end here either. Because if he just won, then he'd reach it. And but the thing is like I said, I can see it where Sammy's gonna win, but my pick is ultimately Drew. Like it's tough because I want to see Sammy win a world title, and I also want Drew to continue his world title reign. So,
I mean, if you're going to
and
put the title on Sami Zayn, don't do it. You don't do it at the Rumble. You don't do it at Elimination Chamber. You save it for the big time. You save it for WrestleMania when the most eyes are on your product. I mean, there's going to be more fans at Mania than there is at the Rumble and Chamber put together. There's going to be more fans watching from home. Now that like WWE pay-per-views, I think are like $30-$40 on ESPN. If I'm a wrestling fan and I'm going to spend money, I'm probably going to spend money on like Survivor Series, the big one, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, the big pay-per-views. But WrestleMania, if I'm a wrestling fan, WrestleMania is where I'm spending my $40. And I think like that's where you do it when you have the most eyes on your product and you make that underdog moment mean more. It's a WrestleMania moment. It's an underdog moment. It's his first world title moment. That's what WrestleMania is about, making stars and upgrading them, going from that mid-card status to, world championship status. And I think Mania is the perfect place for Zayn to win it.
And I think even same way.
So you got
that's
so
the thing.
You said McIntyre too, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, of course, when you guys have been watching wrestling as long as we have, you just become fans of multiple people, and sometimes they go against each other. Like the same way, I wouldn't be mad if they swerved us and AJ ends up winning. I wouldn't be sitting there when if Sammy wins this weekend. I'm gonna be so shocked and happy that he won. I'm not gonna be sitting there like, man, I wish Drew McIntyre's title reign was a little bit longer, and I wish they wouldn't have done that. It's like I don't even think those thoughts, like as much as they probably would cross my mind, but not as much as like, oh, I'm excited to see what Sammy does with the title. Like it's just I wouldn't like think too deep into like, oh, okay, Drew will get his a reign event, longer reign eventually, or he'll get it back, or there's something else in store for him.
Eddie, who do you? Even though Eddie's not competing, we still want to hear his input because he's the double champ on this show. His input is just as important as ours, maybe even more. But who do you think is winning this? See, I can be respectful.
I think before you guys started talking, I had it in my head that Sammy was winning, but now I think they might hold it off till Mania.
Eddie's like, thank God I'm not in this because they could have changed my point of view and totally screwed me.
Well, that's the thing is I like that even just Eddie speaking, like he even though he's not competing, it always helps to see from different point of views that maybe you didn't see before. So because it could, I've had that happen on some episodes where you guys have started talking. I'm like, oh shit, you guys are right, and like almost gone or have gone back on my picks.
So you think McIntyre's winning too, Eddie?
I think McIntyre would probably win. Yeah, but
I think it's just too
if
soon for him to lose it too.
if Sammy doesn't win the title at either Mania or SummerSlam, then what's the point of giving him the title match now?
I mean, the only way I can see it is if Sami Zayn does win it here, and then somehow Drew wins it back at Mania. But that would sound like bizarre. Like, I think Drew holding it all this time is a pretty good reign. By WrestleMania, it'll be like 100 something days, not a bad reign, and then lose it to Zayn. Like, that's what wrestling's about. So, moving on to the next match, we're gonna go with the Women's Rumble. Now, right now, so far, the two people who are, well, 2 out of 3 of the people who are in the ring general title match, me and Tyreek have both picked heels to win the Gunther and Zayn match. Now, do we see a babyface win, or is it going to be an all heels Rumble? I think a babyface has to win somewhere. But the question is, who? So, maybe there's 3 wins here by heels, and AJ does, get the babyface win. Who knows? But as far as the Women's Rumble goes, Ty, who do you think is winning this Women's Rumble?
Man,
And this one's
these
kind of
are
hard
always
for me.
yeah. This is always also hard for me because
Like the men's,
yeah,
the men's usually I can narrow it down to a couple in the men's. The women's,
yeah.
that's the hardest one for me because it's just like out of all the women, like it's not like I don't know. You have your Rhea Ripley's and stuff, but okay, so when it comes to a Rumble match, you do have to think. We've never seen an actual champion win a Rumble. It's not like we ever saw the Intercontinental Champion win the Royal Rumble match. So, is Rhea and Io gonna win? That doesn't seem too promising. Does Becky Lynch, the Intercontinental Champion, winning? I could see them doing that for Becky, but I think
it's gonna be
what's
Lyra.
that's a good one too.
Lyra would be that's who my pick is because I'm not
But
having
I
to bet
think
anything on it, and I want to see her win.
But I think like Becky's gonna go into Mania and lose that title to Maxine Dupree again, and she's gonna get that big WrestleMania win, her first. So
I
these
thought
champions
maybe
ain't really the champions fill in the spots, but they're not really promised to win compared to someone who don't have a title and could go to Mania and actually get
I thought like
one.
a week after
Had-
Becky won, I was
yeah, we had
thinking
one more.
I was thinking that I was like, are they doing this to set up like because this is what we kind of figured would happen eventually, but it didn't. But are they gonna set up at Mania Becky versus AJ for that title?
That
Because
is true.
remember last year we thought that was going to happen because of where everything was, and then just things led to another. And plus, the the story is almost like still going. Like even though like the last PLE
Yeah,
Survivor
yeah.
Series War Games, yeah, AJ and Becky
But these are
were
just mini
still going
feuds
at
in
it.
between it. It's just like time filler.
Yeah.
Like
Now that
yeah.
you've said that, I think that match is almost guaranteed at Mania. Now I
My
don't see them
girlfriend
not.
keeps saying, sorry, go ahead. I mean, interrupt you. My
AJ Lee
screen
and
skip.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
interrupt me again. But yeah, I think it'll be Becky AJ at Mania. I think they've been setting it up for since WrestlePalooza.
Yeah,
My
and
girlfriend keeps saying that AJ's gonna face her, and I keep going like, nah, no, it's not gonna happen. But it's like, I think it's gonna happen. She sees it right.
and maybe that's why we haven't seen it yet because they're like, no, this is a Mania match that we could have, and of course, Maxine won, and I know that not saying just based on how quick she lost it. I just kind of sense like maybe that's probably what they're going to be wanting to build to, especially just how on fire Becky and AJ have been. And to me, just to me, that's the best opponent for each of them at the show, like of
Now,
WrestleMania.
before you pick your pick to win, out of 17 women wrestlers confirmed out of 30 for the Rumble, for the Women's Rumble, there 5 of those ladies have won, I think, 6 of those Rumbles. Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, who's won 2 of them. You got Becky Lynch and Asuka. So you got former ones in there. And that's the thing. Former Rumble winners in a match, they've already proven they can do it. So do you go with a former winner? I don't know if Charlotte Flair is going to tie Stone Cold 3 record. That's why I wore the shirt, by the way. I don't know if I see anyone or Charlotte Flair, tying that record, but those 5 women that's won it, they know how to get it done. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Think about it. Well, I can see AJ Lee. I can see AJ Lee entering the Rumble and Becky Lynch coming out and or she's in the Rumble. I can see Becky Lynch like being eliminated. AJ comes out, Becky comes back out, throws her out, and that's what sets that feud up. Or maybe even AJ wins it and says, you know what? I want that Intercontinental title. And we get the first ever Royal Rumble cash-in on a mid-card title. I mean, Austin Theory did it on the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title on
You're right, first time. U.S. title.
Yeah.
The
U.S. title against Seth. So,
cool.
Anything's possible.
I think my legend pick is probably Lita at the moment.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, Lita's probably my legend. My winner, man, there's a lot I could go with, and that's actually a good pick, Eddie, of Lyra. And to be honest, if I was selfishly doing that, maybe that would be. But well, let me not say that. And you also mentioned, Joey, about secondhand winners. If there's anyone who I think can win 2 Rumbles and would set up the feud perfectly, it's a returning Bianca Belair. And it's
she did win one too, didn't she?
Yeah, in 2021.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay,
just
so that's
the fact
7.
that
That's 6 women who's won 7 women's Rumbles.
just the fact that Jade Cargill is this freaking heel on SmackDown who's just dominated everybody, and just I think maybe we'll get that match regardless. I hope so, but that's just a match to me that could main event of WrestleMania. If not that, then I would say I think this could main event Mania as well. Is Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair, considering Charlotte's on SmackDown. But something just tells me, like, something I know I've gone with a lot of heels, but just I think it's about time maybe Liv Morgan wins the Rumble. So I think
That's a
she's
great
just been
show. That's a great show.
yeah, she I was just thinking about it and thinking of many names, and she's been runner up quite a bit. She's spent a lot of time, had a long time in the Rumble, and just she's come back and been the best version of herself, of course.
So is that
And
your
she's
pick, Liv?
yeah, my pick's
Okay.
Liv Morgan.
All right, it's in ink. Wow, okay, I like that. Okay, so I was for the longest time thinking Liv Morgan. But now that I see all these heels possibly winning, I'm going to go with the Women's Rumble. I'm going to go with a returning Tiffany Stratton.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Who do you got, Eddie? Who's your ideal pick for this Rumble?
Give me Lyra.
Yeah, I think he said Lyra.
That's a really
That'd be
good one
dope.
too. All good picks.
That's what I'm
All
saying.
good picks. And I will
Bit
give Ty
selfish on
credit.
my end,
Liv
but,
Morgan. Liv Morgan
I was
is a
gonna
good
say-
pick because she's been running the Judgment Day since she's come back. When have we ever seen a female run a stable or a faction with 2 other women and 3 guys? Like,
Mhm.
Liv Morgan's taken over, and Lyra, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do
It's
like some
tough.
fatal 4-way
tough.
tag team women's title match, but I honestly think Lyra and Bailey's gonna have it out Because we've been seeing here and there Bailey going psycho, hearing them voices in her head like she's Randy Orton or something. And I think maybe Bailey turns on Lyra and we get that at Mania. But they're all good picks. They really are.
And even like just someone who I just think could, be a big baby face to win the match and, could mix it up with anybody is like Io Sky. Even though she is a tag team champion right now, and like you said, Joey, we haven't really seen that before. I just think that if there was just anybody who is, just just a big baby face to win, it would be Io Sky just because of what all she's done but then you got to think you got to think if is Rhea and Io even gonna make it to Mania as tag team champions, and where are they gonna go? Because I'm thinking that there's
That's true.
because the women's tag division has never been better. I think there is a couple matches I could think of that would feature Rhea and Io as champions defending them and have a banger match. But but also I can see them losing it beforehand somehow and them going off into their own feuds for maybe that's the reason they lost is because they're going into their feuds for Mania and that's how they set it up. It's like, oh, these people cost them the championship and now they're yeah.
And Liv Morgan, I'll give you the credit too. She has, I mean, when it comes to like teams like Alexa and Charlotte, Rhea or Rio, however you say it, in the women's match, you got all three women from the Judgment Day. And if they can just hold out and get all three of them in there, I mean, and especially with Raquel Rodriguez, I mean, I love her. First off, I just think she has a really pretty smile. I do. But when they're trying to make her like what Kevin Nash Diesel was to Shawn Michaels, the bodyguard. And when you got two women in there and one of them is Raquel Rodriguez on your side, even if Liv doesn't win, I see them doing damage in that Rumble, clearing people out, working together like the New Day would.
Over the last year and a half of just the improvement that I thought she.
Dude, I loved her before when she was doing that whole gimmick.
Legit.
I think she's really came into her own as a strong woman, and I think that.
And I think she's
they need to keep the momentum on her that they have.
And to me it's about time because I'm just I remember just back in the day I seen her when I first got back into wrestling in during the pandemic era and would watch NXT. That's when she I believe she beat Io Sky back then for the NXT women's title, and I watched her reign, and that was one of the first things I watched, and I was actually enjoying. And I always just saw her like I got excited when she came to the main roster, and I always just seen her she just seemed to me one of those people who hadn't gotten her moment, but she was going to be one of those top stars because I remember this old picture of when she was NXT champion, Bianca was Raw Women's Champion, and Rhea was SmackDown Women's Champion. They were all they all took a picture together, and I just saw her as one of them, and I was like, I thought it would have happened by now. But she just always looked so powerful, and I could literally just visualize her as I feel like she's just gonna be going against Bianca eventually, against Rhea, against Charlotte, and be one of those main eventers. And if I'm being honest, I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But just seeing where things have gone, I hope she steps into that this year and stays there and finally becomes that.
I was a fan of her, when she had that generic Mexican theme, and she was just turning around and showing her back like it was big and impressive, and she was dating Braun Strowman. Dude, I've been a fan of hers for a long time, and yeah, like Eddie said, I agree with you. Kudos to her. She is really putting in that work, and she's making herself a dominant force. If anything, I would like to see her go in there and eliminate someone like Nia Jax because it just adds to her aura. So, yeah, And Liv Morgan and then you picked Liv Morgan. Having someone that big and someone as talented as Roxanne Perez by your side, dude, she does have a possible chance of walking out. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to the men's Rumble. Now, I will say that in the men's Rumble, from what I can, now I don't know for sure if this is Dragon Lee's first Rumble. I don't know if Solo Sikoa has ever been in a Rumble, but I do know for sure that this will be Javon Evans and Obafemi's Royal Rumble debuts. Now, when it comes to the Rumble, just like the last one, you got 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4,
I think this is Solo's first Rumble, which is shocking
5,
to me. But
6.
yeah.
You got 6 former winners, and they have about almost 9 Rumbles combined between them. Cody and Brock and Orton with 2 apiece. Jey Uso and Rey Mysterio in there with 1 apiece. I mean, you got some people. I mean, you got some people like Orton and Lesnar that could,
Tribal Chief.
Roman Reigns. He's another one. But you have people like Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Brock Lesnar who could tie that Stone Cold Steve Austin record as well. So you got people in this match who have won the match before and knows what it takes to get it done. Now, do you, Tyreek, see a former Rumble winner pulling it off, or do you see us like last year, I think, getting Jey Uso? Do you think we're gonna see someone like last year, Jey Uso, a first timer, get it? Because after all, this is how you create stars. This is how you make world champions. This is what it's all about.
I'm all over the place. Something tells me that this is tough. But
I want to pick who I'm thinking.
This Rumble very much seems like it is like built around the Vision.
Mm-hmm. I see where
in
you're
a way,
going.
but I'm gonna throw my wild card out there.
Oh, okay, already.
I think I'm hoping. I mean, I know this is not very accurate, but you guys know where I'm about to go. I want Seth Rollins to return in the Rumble, so that's my wild card, is that he will return in the Rumble. And I know, like, recently he
As
was
an
on
opponent, or as an opponent, or now. I mean, I'm going to put down Seth returns at Rumble, but I'm just curious where your mind's at. Are you saying as a competitor, or just to come out and screw him?
In the Rumble. He'll be in the Rumble. So yeah, you could put that. But, and I seen, a clip recently about Seth talking about how he's not going to be in it, and he's he is just injured and everything, and that was fairly recent. But sometimes that's part of the game, and maybe I'm living in my own delusion. But I think he could.
He done it to himself with the whole SummerSlam thing. So you're going to question everything with him now.
For sure. And I just think that he could do, just with the timeline and everything. Maybe he kind of, months ago he gave some because I can't remember what time it was, but he probably said he was going to be out for 6 to 8 months or something. That whenever he said it, whenever he said it, lined right up with Mania. But perhaps he comes back before, and it's and if
maybe
he does,
if he's able to, and they can work around his injury until Mania. Could always
yeah. And because
first
of all,
let's keep
Seth
in
is
mind
that guy.
Keep in mind too that he faked that injury with LA Knight. So it's not like Seth ain't pulled this crap before.
Yeah, but he's clearly gonna, because this is so built around the Vision. Honestly, probably yesterday, I might just probably would have gone with Braun Breaker, but I think if Seth returns, he's I just see a scenario. Yeah, and he's just gonna be such a babyface. Everybody's gonna be TV.
I thought it was Santa Claus.
Ugh. Jeez.
And it's gonna be so shocking when he comes back, and he's gonna like I said, this whole thing seemed like it is kind of built around the Vision, and they're gonna like literally you have those four guys taking up 4 spots, and then Paul Heyman keeps alluding to this fucking beast that's already announced for it that could help out. So I just see a moment where it does seem hopeless to where oh shit, the Vision's dominating everybody, and they keep eliminating people, and they're taking up most of the ring except for like the main eventers. And then maybe Austin Theory gets out, and I don't know, Bronson Reed gets out. Oh, but shit, here comes the fucking beast, and he's now the Vision are back dominant again.
Oh
And
my
then,
God.
What?
Hold on. If you look behind Eddie, I think we're looking at the moment where Eddie lost his hair.
Hey.
Oh, you made the
are,
mistake. You made a mistake playing that highlight reel.
Listen, things happen. Keep it the matter.
I'm
We're talking about
flipping
Rumble here.
dead.
We're talking about the Rumble. We are talking
I'm
about
dead
the
over
Rumble.
here. I'm dead. But continue, Ty. Continue. I think it might have kicked him. We might have to wait when we come back, which is all good. It's connecting, I think.
Can't believe this. I try to give a highlight reel, and then it goes and puts on some of the lowest moments of my life.
I told you in that face-to-face episode that karma can be a you-know-what, and I feel like this is just a little glimpse of it.
A little glimpse of it. It's a minor inconvenience. All I had to do was push my computer screen down.
I don't know
Now the problem is solved.
what happened there.
It's fine. So
So,
continue what you were saying, Ty?
Yeah, I just see a scenario where the Vision's being dominant, and look, there's gonna, of course, there's gonna have to be I thought if there was gonna be a returning babyface, and to take them all out, it would make sense for Seth. And like I said, I could just be living in my own delusion, and Seth could still be injured and just not show up. And but I'm willing to take that risk, and I'll love it if he does, and I think if he does, he's going to win. And to me, that sets up Seth versus Punk versus Breaker at Breaker can figure out a way. Knowing Paul Heyman, he could figure out a way to get Breaker in that damn match. And it's if Seth doesn't return and doesn't win, then I could see Braun winning as well, because just this whole thing But also I can see if Seth just shows up and eliminates Braun and sets up his first real main eventer match at Mania. Like, to me, that's guys like Randy and Seth. Like, I always think of them in that way, especially over the matches they've had over the years at Mania. It's like they're here to give those guys who are ready to go to the next level their first real Mania match, and push them to the limit and give them that main event type of match. And so even if Seth just eliminates Braun, he doesn't win the Rumble. That sets up Braun versus Seth, and I just think that's that'd be a great match to get Braun a big match under his belt. But I could even Braun to me just seems like he's ready for the world title. So as much as I think,
Well, let me put this out there too. I should have done this before the women's. Triple H announced today that at the Elimination Chamber, the winners will go on to WrestleMania for a title match. So, even if Seth doesn't win, Seth still has an opportunity to come in and win that chamber match and pick that title. So, even if Seth wins, we can still see Breaker get in there somehow, win the Elimination Chamber. So, how you're thinking isn't impossible. Since Triple H said, we're in the playoffs now, and the winners of the chambers will get a title match as well, is that how we set up the mid-card title matches? Or is this how we make a triple threat match?
yeah, and
Who knows?
And that's what threw everything the fuck off. Like, I just really thought that they were gonna build this Mania, like even though they had the triple threat last year, and they've had multiple matches last year, like Seth and Punk was just a big money fucking main event that we were just waiting for the fact that Seth screwed him over and over and had the fake cash in and everything. Like, even though they've had mixed tag matches and all, and the stuff in the past, the big match for a world title, I thought, that's why I thought Punk was just still going to be chasing Seth and the Vision all the way up until there, and then they swerved, and now I'm like, if Seth comes back, he's got to go after the Vision. If it, he just, or yeah, he just, just after everything they did to him. So, but I think them in a triple threat makes all the sense, even though, like, I just think Seth works in multiple scenarios. If Punk remains champ and they want to do that one-on-one with him and Punk and somehow set that up after he comes after the Vision, then, but because I still think
So is that your pick, Seth Rollins?
Yeah, and I know it's a long shot, but I'm willing to take that because I talk about Seth every week with y'all. That's my guy.
Dude, I'm not even arguing with it because Vince McMahon's been saying since the 90s, anything's possible in the World Wrestling Federation. So, and that still happens today. So, Eddie, if you were in this, who would you pick to win the Men's Rumble?
As crazy as it sounds, I might pick Gunther.
Oh, so you think Gunther's pulling? You think Gunther's gonna pull double duty here?
Retires AJ, and then goes on to win the Rumble, and then probably win the title of the Mania.
I was thinking Gunther too because. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because if he's winning the Rumble, I don't see anybody being able to just with that momentum. Nothing.
I think Gunther automatically has to be either a world title match at Mania or the main event. If he's not, like, I just where he is right now, like as soon as he beats
another legend.
Yes, and if he does that even, so that's not a bad pick. If you asked me a month ago,
maybe like a Rey Mysterio or somebody.
If you asked me a month ago, that probably would have been my pick, low key.
Well, I think since SummerSlam is going to be in Minneapolis, I think that's where Gunther will retire Brock. So I don't know if we get Brock and Gunther here. I really want to see that one-on-one match. I was thinking Gunther too, but I thought about the same thing. I was like, well, if there's one legend on the roster, I can see him retiring, and I'm looking at the list. I mean, yes, I think Dominic Mysterio will be the one to retire Rey, but when you got someone like Gunther right now that you're building as the career killer, the legend killer, the end game,
the ultimate spoiler,
boss,
yeah,
like, dude, when it comes to Gunther, yeah, he's got to be in the top 3 to win. Now, I think Obafemi, since he's making his main roster debut here, I think Obafemi's coming in here and he's eliminating people like Brock. He's eliminating people like Gunther, people like Cody, maybe even a Roman Reigns, unless Roman Reigns gets the best of him. But Obafemi is even a fan favorite. I don't, and the reason I mean Gunther and Brock at SummerSlam, retiring Brock in his hometown, that sounds right. But I swear I would just love to see Obafemi and Brock Lesnar at Mania. That is a dream match of mine.
That's who I think
you say
will.
But you say Gunther too.
I think he has to. Obafemi has to eliminate someone of that caliber, and I think it is Brock. Like something just tells me it is Brock. Like you just not even just because I always think about that too. Anytime Brock's in a Rumble, I think about who's going to eliminate him because that always, if you look back, it always means something. Like when Bobby Lashley eliminated him in 2023, was he in 2024? I don't know, he wasn't. I was there, but anytime Drew eliminating Brock, like what that did for him, like I just think you can't just have anybody to eliminate Brock, and I'm like who do I foresee doing that if they were to get that by themselves, and Oba's the most convincing, even with, people like Gunter, Braun Breaker, and Jacob Fatu in the Rumble. But I could see it. I could see it in my
Oba
head.
benefits the most from it, in my
Yes,
opinion.
yes.
Do what?
He said Oba benefits from it the best, in his opinion.
Oh yeah, when you have okay, so like Oba Femi, I even said this in on a Facebook page the other night, but when this wrestling page said he's entering the Rumble, I literally commented and said, WWE ain't got big giants left. You got big men on there like, Bronson Reed, but WWE doesn't have any like big shows, Strowmans, Kanes, or Takers no more. So to me, Obafemi is that next giant, that big monster. And I literally said, this is something WWE cannot screw up. We've seen NXT talent come up before and not be treated right, not be written right, and before you know it, they're off to AEW or somewhere. I literally said that if WWE screws up Obafemi, this might be one that the fans don't forgive. This might be one that some fans stop watching for. And like you said, it has to be big for Oba. If Obafemi come in and he throws out Javon Evans, Logan Paul, and Penta, and then gets eliminated, what did he really do? He has to go into this match looking like a beast. And Obafemi and Gunther are two of my favorites to win. But if I'm going to go with realistic here, and I've had this written in stone for about 2 weeks now, especially after Raw, when I thought Logan Paul was going to say, the vision is what's important, and the vision is me winning.
I thought
they were going to look at him like you're crazy. But when he said the vision is Braun Breaker, and Austin Theory's like, I agree, and Bronson's like, I like the sound of that. And then Heyman's over there patting him like, you hear that? They're behind you. That assured me. I was like, yeah, my vote and confidence is in Braun Breaker. So my pick for the men's Rumble is Braun Breaker. Because I don't think him and Punk's over with.
Yeah, and just, man, I can't disagree with you. It's like Braun is seems like
he's a badass.
Yeah,
he calls himself the badass. That's what he is.
And I think Paula Heyman talked about this on Unreal and a bunch of other things, but him, like, he talked about looking back on when you think about who's going to main event the next, how many or multiple manias. And he talked about how the turning point was when Seth turned on the Shield. Like, when I tell you how shocked I was when just Braun joining the Vision on Raw the night after Seth, aligns with Paul Heyman, like, to me, that, Paul was talking about that moment and say, this is the moment you're going to look back and be like, oh, this is where it all started for these next, manias or whatever. And I feel that, and even part of me, feels that even though, the fan in me didn't like it, him turning on Seth was just a big of a moment to get to where we are. And I think just this is all the start for him. Like, this is like he's already,
I think that's his Shield turn, if that makes any sense.
And he's
the moment.
The main of
they were saying.
Yeah, and he is like he's literally like just getting started because he just got the second he of course speared Roman and joined the Vision was when he stepped into the main event scene, and I think that turn took him to an even higher level, and he's been in it long enough to where I legit thought that he could beat CM Punk on that Raw. And I knew it could go either way, and I wasn't shocked that CM Punk won because he's CM Punk.
If we were doing predictions, I would have picked Braun Breaker.
I probably would have too. If I'm being honest, I probably would have too. Just because this whole also it's just about, Triple H has made it very clear that it is about, the future, and it is, going forward. We are going to start putting more into these younger guys. That's why it wouldn't surprise me if a guy like Obafemi came in and won the whole thing. I don't think he needs to,
Right. Like, I
but
wouldn't
if
even
he
be
just
too surprised by that.
if he came in and just went through everybody, because that's what my brother messaged me. As soon as he got announced, he was like, yo, Ty, who the hell is gonna eliminate Obafemi? I was like, that's a good point. I don't know.
Probably
Like,
the winner of the match.
if it
Probably the
was,
winner of the match.
yeah, it's
If
like,
it's not him.
because
And let me say something about your comment. Okay, it makes me mad, but Triple H is all about the future. Dude, the guy is on not one, not two, but 3 covers for 2K26.
Hey man, I respect it. I respect it.
No. The Monday Night Wars and Attitude one,
hell to
I
the
understand.
game.
But he had to get his own cover. And I went
Well,
to
Punk's
message
the
to
cover
the
star. He had to overshadow him.
Oh, come on. By the way, if you look at that picture and you look at the trading card that's based on the same picture, they edited his chest to make him look more buffer. It's not even a real picture. It's AI. They took his face and his body and made him look better. That's like when Goldberg would come back wrestling with white hair and they would make it look darker. Get out of here. Like, bro, no. I understand being on the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era game cases. That makes sense. But to have your own, come on. So I was in a Facebook message group on a page, and one of like the 2K game pages, and I was like, dude, if that ever spoke egotistical, putting yourself on 3 game cases on the same year's game is a way to say, hey, I got a big ego and a small you know what, and everyone's
I don't, I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, Joey. But when they started to announce it, they did the whole trailer with Paul Heyman and everything. I thought it was going to be like that was leading us like, is all of the Vision going to be on the cover, or is one of them going to be on? And then when he was revealed on cover, I can't even lie, it felt a little weird. I was just kind of like okay, like it's not that bad, but I get the whole legend thing, and the showcase. Is that what it's called? The show, where they do the years and everything of
the showcase is
Yeah.
probably going to be CM Punk
That's right.
because he's the main cover star.
Well, I assume
I think
his version
there
of the
might be
game.
2.
Yeah, his version of the game will have that to where it's going down different versions of himself in his career, and you get to play as him or against him, and so that's what I thought. Like,
But I had people saying like, dude, they don't have control over that. That's 2K's call. And I was like, if it's a WWE licensed product, Triple H and WWE, they have to run it by him and get the approval. I was like, they brought this all to Triple H. Hey, we want a solo cover and we want to put you on 2 covers. Hell yeah, I'm going to make more money on that way. Bring it on. And
also, for WWE 12, they originally wanted Punk for the cover, but had to wait for 13 because they wanted Orton on the 12 one.
But
Like,
geez,
game
man,
company
like,
wanted Punk, but WWE wanted Orton.
and I even brought up, I was like, okay, so if 2K has all the power, and I don't care if what anyone watching thinks about me bringing his name up, I was like, why don't they add someone like Chris Benoit to the game? And they're like, well, that's bad for business, dude. I was like, okay, I see your point. I was like, why don't they add Owen Hart to the game then? If 2K can do what they want all free willy-nilly and don't have to do anything with WWE's approval, why does people like Dolph Ziggler get cut from the game because he's not in the WWE no more? Why can't they say, hey, I'm a Dolph Ziggler fan, I want him in the game? They can't do that. They have to run it by Triple H and WWE. Triple H saw that he was on 3 covers, and obviously if you're on the cover, you probably do make more from it than someone who's not. But if someone buys 3 out of 4 versions of that game, Triple H is making more money on it. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see a Triple H on a cover again. We haven't seen Shawn Michaels on a game case in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Why don't we get a Shawn Michaels Legendary Edition? Why don't we get a Shawn Michaels showcase? Hell, why not Kane? I can't remember the last time I saw Kane on one. Like, come
They never
on.
gave Kane a cover. They never done my boy Kane right.
No, and that's why, and that's why, as we bring him up, Kane is my legendary pick.
Ooh.
I heard Kane's
Okay.
schedule around the Rumble would be clear, and once I heard that, I was like, one last Rumble for what I consider the Royal Rumble legend, the Royal Rumble Iron Man, the guy who should have won one but never did. And Kane, growing up, was one of my favorite wrestlers, and he still is. So my legendary pick is Kane. And if I don't see him, oh well, I'm not losing points here. But yeah, I believe Kane's gonna at least come out. Hell, even like Obafemi eliminating someone like Kane, a Hall of Famer, that's big for him. But I want to see Kane come in there and clear house. I want to see Kane get that
And BK.
one last Rumble.
When the last Rumble he was in, Priest eliminated him.
Yep.
And that was
Yeah,
in,
that's
I want
true.
to say 21 or 22.
I
And
know it
we've
was the
seen the
COVID
run
era.
that Priest has had since then.
It was the one that Edge won.
That was legit. Like I remember when he did that because I was watching it and
I hated Priest for that.
Me
too.
I
was like, man, Kane should have eliminated him.
I became a fan, but that shows you what it meant to eliminate Kane, because of course I had seen Priest on NXT and I knew who he was and I liked his stuff, but
See, that was my introduction to him. So
yeah, and
started
seeing
off
him
on a bad foot with me.
and seeing him just he had a couple other eliminations in that match. I believe he was kind of dominant in it and lasted where he did, but seeing him eliminate Kane, I was like, oh, this guy's fucking cool, and seeing his moveset and everything, that's literally when I became a Priest fan, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait to see what this guy does on the main roster.
Well, I knew for the first ever legendary pick, I was like, my heart wants to say like Cena, but I know he's retired. But Kane's got to be my first ever legendary pick. It just has to be. In my opinion, Kane should have at least won one. Kane should have gotten that, and he didn't, and that's not fair.
Here's a good question.
And,
or I'll let you finish, and then we'll answer this. But
but yeah, I was just saying Kane's my legendary pick.
Oh, okay. If Kane was to win a Rumble, which one do you think he'd win? What era of Kane, and which one do you think he'd win if he were to win one?
I would say at least, like, I'd say probably
around this one, but 2004. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say after he took that mask off.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh, yeah, that's
because that Kane. My favorite version of Kane was the mask. My favorite Kane was like the '90s full bodysuit Kane, but that was my favorite version of him. But I was like 13 when Kane took that mask off, and when I saw him like doing stuff like taking car batteries and electrocuting the testicles of Shane McMahon, when I saw him doing all that stuff, I was like, dude, I've never seen this on wrestling before. Like, this is the Kane, like, I really do. That Kane was more dangerous than any Kane we've ever seen. That Kane right there, I think 2005, 2006 should have won it.
I think I agree with y'all, but, like, looking back, because it's the Kane that I grew up on, instead of Alberto Del Rio, I would have loved him to win the 2011 one.
Oh, that would have...
Bro,
that's the second best option.
He would have went against Edge again, and that would have been a fucking for the world title. Because before he already had kind of got
in that story.
Yeah, he had already gotten out of a feud, or was kind of in the mid. Yeah, he had gotten out because they had like a match at TLC the previous year, and they were going for a while. And I loved that so much as a kid, and looking back on that now, and the fact that was the first 40-man Royal Rumble, and he came out at 40. That would have been dope if he fucking, won the Rumble and went on to face Edge at that Mania.
In my opinion, if Kane was going to win one, if he was in enough shape to pull it off, if WWE wasn't going to let him win one and go to Mania, he should have very least won the 2018 greatest Royal Rumble. He should have been the one to eliminate Braun Strowman last. And like, hey, we never gave you that Rumble win. We don't think you needed it to go to WrestleMania. You were always going to have a match. But if they didn't want to risk a WrestleMania event and give that to Kane, At
He
least the
could give him the
greatest Royal
trophy, yeah,
Rumble
give him the trophy, and
and the
he
and
could say
title.
that he
Yeah,
won a Rumble and one of the biggest one.
but that's why I'm picking Kane. He is the ultimate Rumble Iron Man to me. He is the Royal Rumble legend. He held that record for the longest time until I think Roman Reigns broke it. Yeah, Kane's my legendary pick, and like I said, Braun Breaker's my pick to win the men's. Now, moving on to super picks, Tyreek, you used yours on Sami Zayn and was actually right on it.
Mm-hmm.
So my super pick, like I said, is Drew McIntyre, and we will get Austin's picks for all this later. Your legendary pick is Lita for the women's, which that's a fair pick. I see that. If they're gonna have a woman's Hall of Famer, I think Lita or Trish Stratus. Mine is Kane. We'll get Austin's later. Your wild card is Seth Rollins will return in the Royal Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm decisive. I was thinking, I'm like 50-50. I want to say that a celebrity will enter, but at the same time, I'm thinking of a wrestler who hasn't been announced yet. Like someone who ain't announced yet will either announce it or show up. I want to say Chris Jericho with all my heart. I really do. But I'm gonna go with my wild card. Hot damn. It's so hard.
It is. It's tough. You just never know.
It is. I think an NXT talent will be in the Rumble. And if there is any on here that's NXT, I don't mean, I'm looking at it now, and they all look like Raw and SmackDowns. Obafemi looks like he's going to be on Raw, but right now he's unaffiliated to a brand, and so is Brock Lesnar. I guess at this point, Brock can show up wherever he wants. Obafemi right now is not declared for a brand, but he's on the main roster. So I'm going to go with, we will see an NXT star in the Rumble.
Yeah, that was a toss. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was 2023 where there was no NXT people in there. Like that was the one.
I know, that's why I'm thinking I'm taking a risk.
Who won that? Oh, I think Cody Rhodes. That's when he returned and won his first one. But back then, like I'm trying to think of who out of anybody who would I want to see in the.
I was divided. I didn't know. I was like, I think it's gonna be an NXT or TNA, but I want to go with.
My mind
NXT.
immediately goes to Ricky Saints, but I'm trying to think: is there a better name that I'd want to have in that Rumble?
I mean, Ethan Page.
That's a good one too.
Because even if he doesn't win, it's a good. I see Ethan Page or Ricky Saints, someone like that, coming over on the Raw after Mania, because we always see returns and debuts. So I think this would be a good way to see how the fans, and that's a good way to see how fans react to them too. Like if they come out and they're not really given too much of a pop, then they know they got some work to do on them. But if they put someone like Ricky Saints or Ethan Page out there and they get a pop and it's just big, that might be WWE's cue to be like, yeah, you're gonna lose that North American title, but you're gonna go to Raw or SmackDown, or you're gonna go to Raw or SmackDown with the title. No one's gonna imagine you coming to the main roster as champion, and then at the next NXT pay-per-view, that's when you'll drop it, but you'll already be a main roster person, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Who did that? Didn't someone do that? Like someone came on.
Someone did. I think it was Tommaso
Ciampa
Ciampa or someone.
For a little bit.
Who?
Someone did.
On NXT. Dom. And Solo also. Solo brought it, but had to release it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dom to defend it.
That reminds me. That reminds me, like, I think, like, in 2006 or 7, Bobby Lashley was the ECW champion, got drafted to Raw, and he went on to defend that title against Vince McMahon, Umaga, and everybody. But then, like, the next year or two later, Kane, the ECW guy, gets drafted to Raw, and I think that's when he started feuding with, like, Rey Mysterio and stuff, they vacated the ECW title and said, well, you're on Raw now, so we're going to vacate the title. Like, how does that make sense? Lashley was good enough to bring it over, but a legend like Kane couldn't have held that title on Raw. Like, they had to vacate it. Like, it was so double standard.
Also, if I had a legend pick to throw in here, I would throw
Yeah,
JBL.
Ooh, good one. Now, I do want to point out, I've gone over it twice, like Santa Claus here. And I've looked over the list of Hall of Famers I think could honestly pull it off. There's Booker T. There is JBL, because he never really had the JBL character never really had a proper Rumble entry. There was that year where hey, Michael Cole, take my jacket, and Roman Reigns threw him over.
Yeah, he entered as a commentator.
JBL's won. Booker T's won. Diamond Dallas Page's won.
That would be crazy.
There's so many there's so many Hall of Famers that could easily pull it off. And to me, Kane, Lita, Trish Stratus, Molly Holly, so many of them could do it. It's crazy. I want and there are returns too that could happen that we never know about. From what I heard today, from what I read today, Triple H in an interview today said there are some big things planned for the men's Rumble. Now I imagine the women's Rumble too, but the men's seems to be what he's focused on the most. That'll probably be the main event. When it comes to returns, we can see a Chris Jericho. We can see a John Morrison. There's also people not listed in the Rumble, like The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov. So many people. I did hear Corey Graves say, like, the reason Grande Americano wasn't on Raw is because he's like, yeah, he's training, he's getting ready for the Rumble. But he's not listed as an opponent. So I don't know if that was like kind of like something he shouldn't have said, or if he's just going to show up. There's Chad Gable, who's been out for a while. Seth Rollins.
And
so many people.
You never know.
And Rey Mysterio on Raw seemed to be, after the match, there were photos and videos of him like legitimately being injured. So he's still considered for the match, but who knows if his spot's still going to be there. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first came to Legendary Picks and Rey Mysterio wasn't in it, I was like, I'm going
Just
with
choose
Rey.
Rey.
I was going to choose Rey. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's an active star. And then on the 19th of January, I was like, damn, there goes. I can't pick him now. He's already advertised. Then I was going to say, I know Roman and Brock Lesnar is going to be in it, so I was going to pick one of them. Boom! They get, it was like literally wild cards for who's going to return to the Rumble or appear in the Rumble. Rey Mysterio as a Legends pick, Roman and Brock as wild cards. I just kept getting they just kept getting taken away from me. And that's when I came down to the conclusion.
Honestly,
NXT or TNA star.
There could be none. Because there was I think a couple. Yeah, Trish was in last year's Women's Royal Rumble, and maybe someone else I'm going over. But I don't think the Men's Rumble had any like Hall of Famers return or any surprise, because their surprise return was AJ Styles, and the surprise entrance was like a Joe Hendry. So it's like there wasn't necessarily anybody who came in. Yes.
Joe Hendry, NXT star, that could be my wild. And you got to think, too, it ain't just NXT. You got WWE, Hall of Famers, NXT, TNA, AAA. Now, WWE owns them. You got free agents. You got people on the injured list. That is like 7 different categories. Oh, celebrities. Maybe athletes from other sports. For some reason, I heard David Beckham. I mean, that's 8. That's like 8 different categories to pick from. And out of 17 out of 30 spots being picked already, that leaves you, I think, if my math is right, 13 or 14 spots available. Like, bro, something's got to happen. And Joe Hendry, I'm glad you said that, because I could have said, now that I think about it, I could have said Joe Hendry will be in the Rumble. But now that I've chosen an NXT star, Joe Hendry would be that wild. Anyone from NXT would be that wild.
I was gonna say
And
yours
the
is
fact
for
that I
the
said
men's, right? Because
yes,
for the most part, we kind of know there's more than likely gonna be. Well, let me not say that because the main roster in the women's division is so stacked that they could just fill it up with people in the main. But over the years, there's always kind of been
They put it.
someone from NXT to come over and fill in the spots that they can. But as of late, women's division has been, yeah, it's like they could just fill it with Hall of Famers and also main roster talent.
look, I don't want to point names out. We probably know who I'm talking about. But we used to have a guy on the show that would come up with the simplest of wilds. Oh, the crowd will go, whoa, with Cody Rhodes. Oh, they will sing along with someone's song. Dude, that was such and pardon my French, but that was such the pussiest wild cards of my lifetime. I'm like, bro, you are just giving yourself a point.
Hey, man, sometimes you gotta
I don't
take
want
those
to.
freebies.
No, I mean, I get it at times. Like right now, to me, Drew McIntyre, that's my freebie. I think that's legit. But when you use a wild card and say, like, the crowd's going to do something they do every week, dude, get out of here. Get your hand out of my cookie jar and quit taking my cookies here.
Mine would have been back in the day. I can't remember if I was the one who came up with this, but I'd always Hell in a Cell or Texas Death Match. Blood will be drawn in this match, or blood will be drawn on the show, or an AEW show. It's like, yeah, that'd usually be mine. My little top hell.
The bloodshed one, I'm fine with because
For a
you never
WWE show,
know.
yes. AEW, it's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially if John Moxley's gonna bleed.
I think
When
I said that.
doesn't John Moxley bleed? He sits at home and watches TV and blood just drips off his head. Like, bro. But no, I like to be fair and square. I think it's pretty cool to get a little bit specific. And yeah, I will say the men's rumble to be specific, because if I say a rumble, that gives me 60 picks. And that's not fair. A rumble, which rumble? Like, I'll be specific. I'll play fair.
Just like I said, it's
And
not guaranteed because of last year's Rumble. There was no NXT people in there.
And I do want to, and you can, and you guys can admit, over the past, I'd say, week or two, I have been the most fairest person to you guys about this Rumble. Every time someone gets declared for the Rumble, I send it in a message. I've sent the list of people who are injured. I have sent food for thought post. Like and like we're all the boss here, not just me. But when I see something, I like to bring it to you guys' attention before the show, before we pick, because I love treating you guys with fairness. If I win this ring, I want it to be done with be fair and with dignity and honor. And I think it's just like, I would like to be respected that way. If you, like you earlier said, hey, Brock Lesnar entered, I appreciate you telling me that, because he was gonna be my wild card. But I did everything, not just for me, but for you guys. I wanted to make it like a fair slate, fair landscape. You know what you're voting for. You know what you're getting into. And I think I've done a pretty damn good job during this Rumble time, updates and food for thoughts and stuff. So, I think I've been really fair to everybody on that, including myself. I'll pat myself on the back for that. But yeah, that's all of our picks for this Rumble card. And like we said, the score is Tyreek with 4 in the lead in first place. Mr. RPD himself. I have 3 points, 1 point behind in second place, and I'm okay with that. And Austin, the champ, has 1 point going in, and this could be the nail in the coffin for Austin, Brock Lesnar, Cochran. And one thing that
sit back and watch.
Yeah, double champ doesn't have anything on the line. He gets to sit back and enjoy the Rumble and have no, am I going to win or lose on his mind? Eddie Wade has it made. And I also I also found out, I learned a little something new on Facebook, how you can use royalty-free music. And due to that, I want to give shout outs for the song you're going to hear at the beginning of the episode. It's called In My Zone by 424KP. Look it up on Facebook. I looked up a few of his songs and they're not bad. I like the vibe, so check that out. You'll probably see the song and the everything here on the screen. But yeah, guys, that's it for the Rumble. This is halftime as of right now. We're going into the finals here of the Royal Rumble card. We're going into the third quarter and eventually the fourth quarter here. So this is the end game here. Tyreek, now Austin has a lot to lose. He loses his ring, he's got nothing. Tyreek wins the ring. He has the choice of cashing in with his Call Your Shot contract. And I won the side card Genesis TNA 1 point advantage. And I could win this ring and have that in my corner. So with me and Tyreek both being the odds-on favorite right now to win that ring, Eddie Wade, you have a target on you but to get that title. And whether it's Tyreek or me, Tyreek's either going to get a one-on-one match with you and have that ring cash in, and I think it's like 3 points start off, or you could be facing me in a match one of these times and me using my 1 point advantage. So 2 out of 3 of your future opponents have something to use against you. So that's something to think about too.
At the moment, we say even Austin retains, we all have something. Like regardless, I still have my contract, you still have your point, and he would still have the ring. So lots going to be coming at Eddie Wade. So be prepared.
Wait. What was that last part? Eddie would still have the ring? You mean title?
Well, no, I said
reign.
Well, I was
like I'll still be in the ring.
I must have said wrong. I meant to say, even if Austin, say he retains somehow,
wins the ring.
Yeah, we all still have something coming for Eddie because we already have that already with my contract, your
That's
1 point,
true.
and him having 3 point advantage.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of crazy. In Eddie's defense, you want Austin to win so that way you or me don't get the ring cash in. Because if you get to cash in, you have a one-on-one match with Eddie, and you have a 3 point advantage. If I win the ring, I can cash that in with my 1 point advantage and face 2 other guys or all 3 and walk in with 4 points. And like you said, if Austin retains, you have one guy with the ring who can cash it in, one guy who can cash in a one-on-one match, and one guy who can cash in a 1 point advantage. Holy crap! I didn't think of that. Good eye, Ty.
We are in Mania
that's
season.
What happens when I'm on the top.
Yeah,
everybody.
Are in a Mania season. Mania season doesn't start the Rumble. It starts here on Wednesday at Ring Post Daily. And you know what? I'm just gonna let you know. A long time ago, I talked to a certain somebody on the show and said, "Hey, man, we need to make WrestleMania since it's 2 nights, and it's WrestleMania. We need to make WrestleMania its own SuperCard." And that person, no. There'd be times where we had WrestleMania, Wrestle Kingdom, and every other pay-per-view. We had 5 pay-per-views going on at once at Mania time. But now WrestleMania is its own SuperCard like it deserves to be. And I'm going to let you know right now, that's when I'm cashing in my 1 point advantage. I'll tell you right now, months in advance, I am cashing in my 1 point advantage at WrestleMania.
Okay. For the belt, yep. The belt will be on the line at Mania.
Off my cold, dead hands.
Unless Tyreek wants to
just upstage
do me and Austin, and
yep, you guys aren't going to Mania because I'm going to Mania to win.
You could. Well, if that's what happens, that's what happens. But I know as far as right now, you ain't cashed in. But if I go in, but if I get to go in and predict for that WrestleMania card, I'm calling it right here, 3 days before the Rumble. Yeah, that's when I plan on cashing in my 1 point advantage.
Damn, Joey wants the boyhood dream. He's gonna beat the man who turned on him
Exactly.
at
I'm doing
WrestleMania.
this Shawn Michaels style. Boyhood dream come true. I haven't had a title or nothing in a long time. And I was
What a
looking back at some
reason.
photos today of me holding that title. I was like, a second time don't look too bad. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I told myself going into the 1 point advantage match, if I somehow win, this is my first win of any type of title or accomplishment in a long time. And I told myself, okay, when January comes around and we do that 1 point advantage card, if somehow I win, WrestleMania is going to be the time. So I knew all the way back in November, December
It
that
could be.
WrestleMania.
It could be your
You've been
year. I
plotting
hate to
on
say
me
it.
for a long time.
I could see it. It could. If Joey wins the ring, the amount of momentum he's going to go in, the fact that he won, he'll win all the super cards of the year so far, winning the 1 point advantage, winning the ring, and then cashes all that in at Mania, and somehow if he walks away with the title, yeah, could be a WrestleMania
Well,
journey.
I'm going through the ring. I'm going through the Ring Post daily events, and because I don't remember, but if I'm correct, Elimination Chamber
In
is
Chicago.
Elimination Chamber is for the title. And then after that is WrestleMania, and that's also for the title. Now, the reason that is because if someone wins the ring and they have to defend it, they don't get an opportunity to cash it in. So whoever walks out of Rumble with the ring, they'll have an opportunity to cash it in at least once before they possibly lose it.
Not only
That's
that,
why the next.
I was just going to add
That,
in, not only that, it's good to have build up to the
switch it
Elimination
up.
Chamber saying who's going to walk into Mania as the champ. And,
Yes, I didn't think of that. That's a good aspect too. I never thought of that.
Us doing our best to take it off Eddie Wade.
But going into Chamber,
Sounds
someone
about
has
right.
that chance to cash it in, or they can cash it in at Mania. And WrestleMania, obviously the biggest show of the year. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect any other promotions, but there is no bigger live event in the world
It's the
than
show.
WrestleMania.
It's the show.
WrestleMania has to be for the title, no matter who the champion is. So even if someone else beats Eddie for the title at Chamber,
Which they
that
won't.
person, fair enough. If someone did in an alternate universe defeat Eddie for that title at Chamber, that person doesn't get no sleep because that's February, March. I mean, the next show they're defending it, so you might have from February, you might win that title on February 28th, but literally, I think a month and a half after that, April 18th, 19th and 20th, you're defending your new title. You don't even get a chance to do what Eddie's doing this card and relax. No, you defend it. So it's definitely WrestleMania season, my guys. It's definitely.
Am I undefeated
Not
at
just
Mania?
WrestleMania season. It's
I don't know.
Eddie Wade season. I believe you are.
I won. I know I won in
Whether you are or
2023.
not, I've
I'll figure it
never
out.
won at Mania, so I'm coming for that Mania win. Will accomplish the boyhood dream of retaining this title in the main event of both night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania.
I am the main event of RPD. I got to check back to make sure I am undefeated.
I was about to say,
I am the Undertaker. I am the Undertaker.
Oh wow, that's another good way to look at it. Now, I don't know if you're better at math than I am, Tyreek, but if you can, and if it's not a problem, if there's a way we can figure out the statistics and stuff,
Yeah,
I'll start to keep track of that from that point on. But
I could do that.
As of right now, I have
it up to a certain point. Because I was doing kind of the same thing a while ago when you know who left. He sent me the history of the title and the ring, and for a while I didn't add in who this was last year. Add in who where it went and how because I think I had it at the time. I had the belt or the ring or whatever. But Anyway, I did like near the end of 2025 go up and update it all the way up to where I could by looking back at our previous posts and SuperCards, and I got to a certain point. I'll check in. I'll make sure you guys get that info because you know I can figure it out.
Well, I only ask you because I'm gonna have a good amount of editing to do.
Yeah.
And it would really help me out, and I'd appreciate it if I had a little help there. And you being Mr. RPD, you know, let's see you live up to that name and do your homework and figure it out. But guys, this has been the Royal Rumble episode. Like I said, the theme song is In My Zone by 424KP. We have done our picks, the first ever legendary picks. It's going to be one hell of a Rumble, and everyone says, oh, WrestleMania season starts at Royal Rumble. No, it starts here 3 days before the Rumble on RPD. And I've had fun with this episode.
Me too.
We got Eddie Wade here. We're gonna do a little send off here, but we got Eddie Two Belts, RPD champ, and the so-called Brotherhood champ, Eddie Wade. Yeah, that's what I call him. We got Mr. RPD himself, Tyreek Ramsey. Austin Brock Lesnar Cochran is once again not available, but we don't know why, so can't really judge him on that. And you got me. Eddie used to be called Eddie the Betrayed Wade. Well, ever since I got turned on, I'm now the Betrayed One. So I am Joey the Betrayed Hudson. And this has been Ring Post Daily with your Royal Rumble episode. Good luck, Ty. Good luck, Austin. And Eddie, you better keep your head on a swivel in and outside that ring, because you have 2 to 3 people with advantages that could very well come after that title. And before you know it, you might be just the so-called Brotherhood champion. But we know what happened there.
Eddie No Belts.
Eddie No Belts. Oh, don't that
Eddie
sound
No
good?
Belts will never happen. Come
Who
on,
knows?
Don't
Now, hold on.
that.
I got a theory. What if earlier on in the video, that clip of you in the background getting your head shaved bald?
Eddie No Hair, No Belts.
What if that is a sign that, hey, you didn't have hair in the video and might not have any titles after this either?
Why don't you quit with this?
Time will tell.
You know, there is a time where I would have been like,
I gave you the time of day to give you an interview after my match, and this is.
Oh yeah, I remember you giving me the time of day too when I got kicked out of Brotherhood. Hey, you brought this on yourself, Eddie Two Belts.
I think that's a good place to go out. So of course we'll see you at the Rumble. We'll see you. It's Mania season. We'll see you at Mania, and looking forward to RPD. And as always, we end off with happy wrestling.
Get the bag and then what easy take the risk. I'm so stupid, born to do this, I don't give a KP, I still the shit. Let's go and take a trip. You see me round town, cruising in a foreign whip. I'm in my zone. See we out there, oh shit,我的专注力。你们能看到我，因为我让你是故意。你可能喜欢我，因为我不跟别人比，我就是我自己。I'm always number one, no I ain't running up。我只想赢，我不会听你们在做什么。这是我的命运，所以 I'm never giving up。把全部。